What's going on, everybody? Jason and Justin here with another Three Geeks conversation. Today we're joined by Anthony Fernandez. Anthony, how's it going?
Man, I'm beautiful. I'm blessed. It's great to be on the show. Thanks for having me, guys.
I can't wait to talk to you. You've been in like everything over the last 10 years.
It's been quite a ride, let me tell you.
What made you want to get into acting?
I think now that I'm older, I look back and I say movies were always a part, like movies and television, always a part of me growing up. I grew up always moving from place to place, single mom with two sons. So movies were always a comfort. But somewhere along the way, I started, dabbling in the streets and getting into trouble. And that kind of loses you. You think more about realistic things like the money and that kind of left me, but I was always creative. It turned into rap music. And let's just fast forward to 99. I'm kind of at the spot I am in life saying that I went too far into the street life. It was to make some moves and choices. And so I came back to LA and I was bouncing at a nightclub called the Boogie in Anaheim. It's where they filmed the opening scene to the original Roadhouse. Great club. I ended up doing real well there. I was a manager. Fast forward again, 2006, they closed the club, and I was making racks. I was single. I had a studio. Definitely going to be the next rapper. And that same year, I had an instant family, a new baby on the way, new son to raise. And so I had to shift gears real quick, and I didn't have any real skills. I've always been intelligent, but there's nothing documented. No professional skills, I could say. So I had to figure out what I could do. I was bouncing at other nightclubs, but I was slowly sinking. And so I decided to go to community college for a business degree. I said, I give up. Let me just try this regular guy thing. And along the way, I rediscovered acting. I just took it as an elective to say, okay, if I got to give everything up, that's for me. And at first I thought it would just be to help rebuild me, feed my soul. But I started changing, being from the street life, you dead some emotions. So they all started coming up. I started really learning to live and love, and the kids definitely changed me and the family. And so I studied 3, maybe 4 years before I actually thought I know I was going for a business degree, but I think I'm going to try this acting thing. So 2009, I decided to make the haul and go do auditioning, and I joined Central Casting, and it really reignited something in me. I've always had a fire and a passion to do big things in my life. I just, do turns and decisions. You never know where that'll land. But man, I'm telling you, the best thing in life was rediscovering myself, learning the craft of acting, and then being able to apply it. And I've been blessed. I earned my union status in 2013. And doors have just been open. I give credit to everything, though. Everyone involved. I worked really hard, and I deserve every door open. But those people that are there to open those doors, man, I really thank them.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I got to ask, because second to my love for movies and television, hip hop is the biggest thing in my life. Can I find any of your stuff anywhere online?
No, there really is. I mean, we were working. It was just stuff that life interceded. We were kind of partying. I probably have computers that still have instrumentals and songs that we did. And then my best day one, he still has the CDs that we burned. He'll throw on every now and then. But remind me, and I'll try and get you something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'd love to check those out. Yeah. Who were some of the people you used to listen to growing up?
It was always West Coast, we have NWA. I loved Ice Cube, Cypress Hill, definitely dope. But I also like the old school Big Daddy Kane, MC Search and De La Soul. There was a lot of great songs when I was even younger, before you really take charge of your life that were playing, and that's from hearing the Salt and Peppers to make it onto the radio to Run DMCs. So I loved it all. But, what really influenced me when I was a teenager was a lot of Bay Area rap, the E40s and Drew Down. So I run the gambit. I love it. There wasn't one day that I didn't flow back in the day. And I still love it to this day. But, I look at it as it gave me what I needed to help me to be able to perform. But the longevity, now that I look back, I'm so much happier in what I chose now, where my journey led me, because there's just not longevity enough. When I look back now, I think like, well, even if you would have started in your 20s, there's that ride or die section that'll stay with you. But longevity, like Anthony Hopkins can still hop on something right now, and there's a role for him. No teenagers want to see an Anthony Hopkins hopping around on the stage rapping. So even though it's my love for it, I think just there are some things that at a certain age you have to, I still got some homies probably that are like hitting 50 and they're like, the mixtape dropping. And I'm like, hey, good for you, feed your soul. But, at the same time, it's about, making the money and providing for your family, establishing that empire. And so I'm totally happy doing what I'm doing now.
I want to see Anthony Hopkins on stage like right now.
That would be dope, right?
He's so entertaining. Oh my God. Absolutely. Yeah. But you did a few things, but what was it like finally getting the role on like something like Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
That was amazing, because until that point it was, much needed making my bones, so to speak, on as a background actor. And it was always the gangster, but like I literally just had barely got my SAG-AFTRA, and I was so proud. And then to book that, it was amazing. It's always an extension of the great work that people behind the scenes and in front of the camera have put together and built. So when you step onto something, it doesn't matter who you are, you have an awe and a respect for stepping onto that and being included. And let me tell you, though, there is a story behind that, because I was just laughing and I said, we all learn things for a reason. We did a perp walk on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And so I was so happy. I was like, I'm going to use it for my reel, because if people don't know, it's not just, you get paid kind of twice. You get the money for the job, but then at the same time you get the reel, and then it propels your work. And so you're excited. And so when it did air, though, it was kind of like a brush. I mean, you barely saw the face, and then they dubbed my voice. I'm sorry to say, I don't know what I did wrong. It was just you're never gonna get me. And next thing you know, it was this total different voice. Maybe I wasn't Brooklyn enough back then. I don't know, but it was very funny. But the wrap up to the story was, I was looking through some residuals that had come in. And I was like, oh, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, still paying. It didn't hurt my career. I did get the experience. I'm more than happy to do it. And, it just shows you, like, never look a gift horse in the mouth, because it's still paying to this day.
That's awesome. Can you tell me at least a little bit about The Evil Gene? Full disclosure, I have not seen it, but it has some of my favorite people. It's like I'm a big Supernatural fan. Richard is a big part of Supernatural. Big fan of that. Like, I would love to hear more about that movie and how'd you get the part, the whole deal.
I believe at that time it was an amazing time in Hollywood, and I recognize it because we were able, as actors coming up, able to take care of our own submissions sometimes, through the Actors Access and Casting Network. But I believe it was one of those submissions. I went in and read, and at that time I had no idea really. I got the premise and the sides, but I didn't know what it was. But I knew that I could just, I could pull that one off. I was like, I just got this guy. And so I locked in. I believe we had a callback after that and started working with the characters. But the rest is history. I got the part, and it was an amazing experience. Every day was something new. That was probably the biggest thing that I had worked on at that point in time.
Sure.
And what can I say? Richard was great. The whole cast, everybody was amazing. They even called me back to play a cop on Kings of Con. And that was a fun experience too. And so you learn from people too. It was amazing to see, because when I came into it, and I still do as a process, I love going Daniel Day-Lewis, but you realize real quick that sometimes you just can't go there. And to get the lesson of seeing professionals that can literally light up a room, take a production to the next level and still be professional, know their lines, know their mark. That was, invaluable to me as an actor, just to see that, the whole production. And then I still got to play the bad guy. Still got to, creep people out and then go home at the end of the day.
Yeah. Is that fun? Is it fun playing the bad guy? Just in general, like regardless of movie, is it fun playing the bad guy?
Yeah, I would say so. As you're building a career, and especially if someone's looking to be like the lead, there's always this balance where it's like, coming up, it's like, oh no, I want the hero, I want to play this, and I said, I don't care, I just want to play these great characters, and the bad guy the good guy sometimes gets a little bit boring. It's always fun to see what level you can bring it as far as the bad guy, and we have so many interesting takes to choose from with the cinema of the past, and great performances. So I see nothing wrong with like kind of cherry picking a little bit and getting ideas, and character acting to me is really fun. So you get to put more into that. I think when it comes to the bad guy, they are the good guy of their story. So you find those elements of dysfunction, and sadly sometimes they mirror ourselves. And then it's nice. A lot of the times they gave that to me just because of my background, who I am, to let the other actors feel safe. Like they know when it's go time, when the cameras roll, it's going to be very intense. And I just like being able to get the most we can out of it, but the other actors still know that they're safe and I don't snap.
It's awesome. Yeah.
So when you go in for a movie like The Wedding Ringer, do you know that it's a Kevin Hart movie ahead of time?
No, sometimes they really keep it under wraps. Some do. They'll say this person's attached already, and so you kind of get a sense of it, or the story that they're making. You're kind of familiar with it. Who's attached just through the grapevine. So you're like, okay, well, this. Or if it's a second season of something or a second movie, who the character that played it was, or who the actor that played the character was. But no, that's an amazing thing too, because I think they called it the Golden Tux, I believe. So even the name wasn't The Wedding Ringer at that point in time. And I went in for the initial audition, and that's just when you're kind of doing your own lines. And but then the callbacks are always, you learn a little bit more information about it. And I loved that one because that's when I got to read with Ignacio. And then that's when you find out kind of like the scale and scope and who's on it. And man, when I landed that was another beautiful thing. Like I said, I had just gotten my SAG. I put in a couple jobs under my belt, so I was feeling the momentum. And when I auditioned for that one, it was the right fit. I was still kind of learning. I knew how to watch comedy, but I really didn't know, the performance. And to get in the room with Ignacio and Kevin and Josh, it was just an amazing thing. There was improv flying all over the place. When he started singing, that was improv. The song itself, I remember Ignacio just made up kind of on the spot. And so, but it was gold because that's really what created the scene. And I didn't even I didn't think whatever I was doing, I was like, well, what am I not doing anything funny? But that was the whole point. And so Jeremy Gerlich is a director. He was amazing. And that was one of those ones where I count my blessings because they did do the screeners. And so there were several spots. I mean, I think when we went to Sony for the first screening, they still had like another hour to cut down from that point. So some people's scenes didn't make it in, but everyone, such amazing actors that were on there. And that was one that truly reminded me of what it was like to see that movie in itself, growing up and seeing the Caddyshacks and the Animal Houses and like those zany like comedy romps. And so I was really just so blessed and happy to be attached to that one.
Yeah. It's a fun movie too. I think it's very underrated.
Yeah. And I get it now. Now I look back at them, oh, that's hilarious. And to this day, the guys are still like, oh, nachos. Like, yeah.
So is it, and this might be a long answer to this question, but is it intimidating or daunting to be attached to like an NCIS or like one of these ones that have Young and the Restless, stuff that has like a long Shameless, like a long tapestry or a history of a TV show, right? Like that. Those are name brand shows. I could go up to anybody and be like, have you heard of Shameless? They'll probably say yes. Have you heard of NCIS? Yeah. They'll probably say yes. Like, is that daunting when you like go to a set like that? Or is it just like, okay, this is cool, these people are established, or is it just different? I don't know.
First, I would say every day has its own nerves, whether you think you're prepared. It's just, I don't know what the shift is. Some days you feel it. But I will say it becomes more of an issue and more of a problem for those that don't recognize the magnitude, that don't have the respect to really put in the work to make sure that they're prepared. And I'm not talking about stressing yourself out or overloading, but if this is what you want, it's like, That's why I wanted to join SAG-AFTRA, because I said, it's like the majors. You're playing in the minors, that's great, but you may not get as much playing time in the majors, but you're going to get to play with them. And then over time, if that's for you and you're one of the greats, it will develop into that. So it's the same thing. I always look at it like that. Some days you have a little bit more nerves, but honestly, no, I think that, and it's partly not everyone is not built the same. The story that I have, the experiences that I have that have kind of built me up to who I am, instill maybe a little bit more of that confidence. And I've always been like that type A personality. And so hell or high water, we're going to get it done. And then I do want to, at that point, you want to feel the mutual respect from people that you have watched. So with NCIS, it was amazing to sit across from Mark Harmon. I mean, Summer School was just one of the funniest films, and then he helped single-handedly, not single-handedly, but he helped, bring his talent to NCIS to create what it is in a collective of other great actors. And so when I do, I make sure that I really do prepare. I remember me and Mark had like an 8-9, that interrogation was like 8-9 pages. At first they were going to break it up, but I had been working on it so much. And at that point, that was the one that really, it tested me. And I was like, no, I'm going to get this. And so we said, they decided to just run through it. And I was like, yeah, let's just go through it. I remember at one point we were in between, we had ran it and it went really well every time. There was really no messing up. And Mark was looking at me across the table. He was like, "You've been working on this one, huh?" A little grim, but it was a positive. He wasn't, he wasn't razzing me. And I was like, I have. And so that little, it felt like that kind of like, yeah, respect sort of thing, because he was just amazing to work with. Yeah.
I gotta ask, because it's one of my favorite shows. I can't believe it got canceled, but on Apple TV, you worked on Truth Be Told, and you were in half the season. I remember you on the show, and first off, what a great show and what a great cast. What was that like? Because getting a job working for Apple with such a great cast coming into the third season and having a bigger role than you've typically had on a show before.
No, that was definitely a turning point. Man, I that's one of those ones that still to this day humbles me, because the cast that was on there, the previous casts and storylines, I mean, it just, that is one of the ones where you ask me, if you get those nerves, and I really didn't, but it does humble you when you're around such great company. And then you're, and that was one of the ones that I'm very proud of, because I believe at first Bill Ochoa was just supposed to be in maybe 1 or 2 episodes, but that was one of the ones where they ended up including me. He was one of the main central characters to the story. And there was, that's one of those ones too, where it was amazing because, I got tattoos and everything, but when I came into the business, I knew that I wanted to play other actors and characters, or other characters. And so I didn't want the doors to be shut on me just from appearances. And Bill Ochoa, though he was a scumbag, he was a millionaire scumbag that was a little bit more refined. So it was fun to be able to, break out and play those roles. And that was the same year I was included on the rounding out cast of the Fatal Attraction.
Another show series that I enjoyed watching too.
Yeah, I really wish that they would have given us another season on that. I think there could have been more to it, but it's one of those things where, you take pleasure in what it is for that time. And I think that we all did some really good, solid work. It was another notch in my belt, and I got to work with another great group of people. And I'm telling you, the past 11 years of my professional career have been a whirlwind, but it's always been blessed and elevated to work on shows with amazing actors who have gone on to do even more amazing things. So it does give you a sense of, you're on the right track, you're on the right trail. And so, yeah, man, it was just amazing.
Did they talk to you at all about what season 2 of that would have looked like?
No, I think they were just waiting to figure out everything. A lot of times, down the pipe, you don't hear as much information about what they're talking about. And then, we're also talking about 20 or the strikes happening kind of disrupted certain things. So I would imagine that some things that the studio felt more comfortable about, and some days they weren't, open to. And that's just speculation. I would never, accuse anyone of making decisions, but there could be so many different things that, I always say, even when you go into the casting room, it could be your performance, it could be the guy just didn't like the way you look. You look like a guy that stole my girlfriend and you're not getting it. So, you just roll with the punches. But, with things like Fatal Attraction and Truth Be Told, I just look at it as like these amazing experiences. I mean, I really, I got to work with Ron Cephas Jones on Truth Be Told before he passed. And you never see this coming. And we always have people that inspire you. And sometimes you don't know what the impact is until you look back on it and you say, man, I was watching this film with them in him and didn't really think much. He was a great actor, and I always thought that was a cool character. But then to meet them puts it on a whole other level. Mekhi Phifer, he was amazing. And so, like, just working with so many different people, it's always just always refreshes you and lets you know that you're on the right track.
God, that was a good show. Yeah. You're naming the cast. I'm like, God, those guys are all good.
Yeah.
Especially on that show. But go ahead,
and
Justin.
then Fatal, Josh was amazing. I remember seeing him since I was a kid and he was a kid.
Mighty Ducks.
So, yeah.
So do you only have Modelo in the fridge outside of the water you just drank? Like, how cool is it to be the recruiter?
Wow. Man, yeah, that's it. Team Modelo. And they were trying to get me. I would be at games and they would try and get me. And they were like, whoa, so what's your real team? What's your team? They were like, Team Modelo. You already know. Awesome. That was a really great feeling to know that I had that, because over the course, I've always been more film and television. It's just how it is. I don't know what it is about me, but I think maybe along those years I had an AT&T commercial and a Dodge. So, this one was another one. I never turn them down. I always have a great attitude towards auditions, no matter what it is. I try and make it work, and I try and make it my own. And this one was funny, though. I said, well, this is a great character. And so I tried to figure out kind of what it was. And, this guy felt a little bit sporty, but the Western. And so that's kind of how it was built. And even me as a Chicano, I decided to go more, I say Sam Elliott than Don Chente. And I just thought it was a real good, feel, just like that. I'm the Modelo recruiter. And so I did the first one, that it's a commercial, but I had no idea it was a campaign that it would turn out to be. So I went back for another callback. After that second callback, though, they started probably narrowing it down, I would say, because then it was background checks. It was all this other stuff. I'm like, hey, I've been on commercials before, but nothing like that. Okay. So it became more and more real. And the reality of that one, I think in between doing that, we went back for a third callback, and I just had to get away. And I remember that I had to expedite the passport because it was valid, but I didn't know that, if you're going international, that they couldn't be expired 3 months after that, which is dead on 3 months. So I'm in the middle of doing this. I don't even have the job yet. And, but just to make sure that everything is in order. And, everything was just worked out smooth because I ended up getting it. I took this trip out to Arizona with my family for a second. I said, well, worst case scenario is they tell me yes. If not, it's over the weekend. And I got to cut home, but that was it. So I got it. It was amazing. And it turned out to be a big campaign that is in continuation. I don't know how much more, but this last year has been amazing, from the opening toast in Vegas to the Modelo Kickoff Classic to making appearances all over the country at football games. And for an actor, that's amazing because, I still have a great film and television career, but you're able to actually interact and play this great character and see the commercials playing. So it's amazing.
Yeah. What all games did you go to? What all did they ship you to? I mean, that's cool. As a football fan, that'd be really, really fun.
Yeah. I was at Ohio State. And then I think we were Atlanta was really amazing. That was the championship.
Yeah,
And then Vegas. So it hasn't been shooting all over the place. I believe this next season there will probably be a little bit more appearances. But I mean, I think they did a great job in balancing the commercial play with the appearances that I've done, and so everyone's been asking for the jackets. They're killer.
It's a dope jacket. It really is a dope jacket.
Yeah, so keep your eyes out for that. I think that they're getting popular, and I was even amazed too. I was just in Orlando recently, and just got back in town, and some of the people that I was meeting out there were showing me it, because I was thinking when the commercials dropped, I was like, well, it's close to October. It's October, and I want to see some Halloween costumes. And so you don't really see too much posting. I wasn't hunting for it, but then all of a sudden, recently they were showing me from the same Halloween that I was like, where are all the costumes? People were living. My brother dressed up, my husband dressed up, and they would show me the pictures, and I was loving it because I was like, okay, good response. Yeah,
people resonated, right? That feels good.
They did.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So I got to ask, before we get into the stuff you've got coming out soon and all the fun stuff, what was it like working on the Happy Madison movie Home Team?
Oh, a dream come true. Absolute dream come true. Great story. It's one that people still tell me that they love watching. A true story too, based on a true story of Sean Payton. And that was me sitting at home. That was 2020. That was another one that was like coming out of COVID. The industry is just starting to get back, and then I'm given this great opportunity. I think it was just a couple quick scenes from it, and I didn't know what that one was, and got a call back for it. And then the second time, that's when you find out it's Happy Madison, and then I believe it was the producer callback. And right when we were on there, and we ran through it a couple more times, and those third ones, those are the ones where it's like, then we figure out a different way, or you're kind of on eggshells because you're getting closer. But the Canane brothers were amazing, and while we were on that call, after that, they announced, they were like, "Wow, would you like to come to New Orleans and film a movie with us?" And my heart just popped out of my chest, my head. That's one of those ones that you asked me about, Happy Madison. It doesn't matter what, that name carries so much weight. It's influenced so much, so many people in the industry and fans alike. So, I was happy to be attached to that. Chris Titone, Keith Bloom, they wrote a great script, and there were so many great characters in there. And then it's also the experience of being down there. I got to stay in New Orleans for about 3 months. And then you just get those moments where Rob Schneider, you get to talk to him, and he's really a great guy, warm heart, very talented, but he's dropping these jewels of the industry and, interested in you and your life, and then able to reply with great advice. And Taylor Lautner, man, he was amazing. He's a great guy too, with a big heart. The entire cast was just fun to work with, and I said the Titone brothers. Kevin James was amazing. I wish we would have had more scenes together, but the ones that we did, it was just a fun time. And I was down there. The beautiful thing about that was that they included me. It really is a family. They include you in everything. And my character, we got to hang out on sets, even when I wasn't there. Be in the background or on the stand. So a lot of the filming, I just got to sit and watch and soak up. And so everybody was beautiful, and it truly is from there was a time when I was, since it was just out of COVID, we were all we would drive to the sets from the hotel. And since it was New Orleans, there were so many parishes and areas that we would go to film, to use different football stadiums. And I just remember going out one day, and it was this long trip. And when I got out there, I'm looking, I said, the expense, the lights, the camera, the people, the catering, these tents, everyone that shows up early and stays late, all for those moments to where then it's my turn, and then the camera's on you, and it's like you get to shine, you get to play. And I just love that feeling. Once I got it, it's truly a bug that bites you, and I love it.
I mean, it's almost like doing a TV show, doing a Happy Madison production, because it's all the normal people that you see in those movies. Adam Sandler's wife, his kids are in the movie,
Yes.
his nephew. Do you get to meet Adam Sandler on set? Does he show up at all?
We didn't. I'm not sure if maybe he came down previous, but there was aside from the group that was there filming, there were very strict guidelines they kept everyone separated. Even I didn't get to spend as much time with with Marcos Eddie, but I mean it was it was a great experience though, because the people that you do get to talk to, you realize why this is a dynasty that Adam has created, that he can put his stamp on something, and then the people that he works with, they can go out and hold up that name and deliver something that's heartfelt and funny, and the fact that it was a true story, it was just kind of amazing to me. And Chris Titone, one of the writers, he was actually Jackie's brother, and he's been in a bunch of Happy Madison flicks, and it was just fun to be able to sit and talk to him, because he has such a broad view and scope of the lineage of the movies, and then this particular one, because he literally wrote it with Keith. And so those moments where he kind of tells me the decision process and how they decided, he was like, when we saw your audition, we knew it was you. And but yeah, I would have loved to meet Adam, but I never closed the book on anything. We're in the profession of making movies, and I would love to work with him again somewhere down the pike.
Yeah. You got him one, you can get him more for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Why not?
Yeah.
So what's next for you? What do you got coming out?
So April 1st, there is a hood comedy. I think we made magic. It was a project, almost a passion project, but a collective of Chicano Latino entertainment came up, and there was an amazing script called Horchata with Oat Milk that's basically centered around the gentrification areas like East Los Angeles. And it's a comedy. It's just a funny one. I play kind of like the heavy with my goons in it, but there's so many talented people. We are Concrete Live. He's built up a tremendous following. And even if those of you who don't know Concrete, I guarantee you've seen his skits online. Jay Valentino, he's another online personality who's extremely funny. And Jerry Garcia is a stand-up comedian. He's delving into the film and television business as well. And Duno from the Brown Bag podcast and then Brown Bag in LA with Letty and Vic. So there are so many amazing, talented people behind the scenes there. The producers, some of them have been more focused in the music industry, but they're crossing over, and I think they did an amazing job, because when I got back from Orlando the other day, I went straight over to the Neighborhood Watch Studios in Hollywood to do some ADR, and I got to see some of these clips, and it's really a funny one. It's looks beautiful, and that's starting to remind me of something classic. When we were filming, I believe that was another project that was kind of coming out of COVID. And so everyone with a project, was kind of on their own, left to like, let's make something. And so with the help of Chicano Hollywood, you can find them on Instagram. They decided to put this together, and I was just happy to be attached to it, because I really think that you just felt like there was magic taking place. Everyone that was on, no matter what their role was, jumping up to help and put in work. So we got the green light to release it. The producers are putting together a premiere in Hollywood. I'm not sure what the theater is, but it'll be off somewhere around Weddington. But yeah, it's going to be a funny one. So you can find out. I don't know if they've dropped the trailer yet. They might be waiting to drop it sometime this week. The press release will be out, and I believe there'll be. You can go to Horchata with Oat Milk on Instagram. Yeah.
All right. I can't wait to check that out. I'll make sure I put the link down below, so everybody out there that's watching, you guys can also go check it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Show your love and support, man. It's really one of those ones that I'm proud of. And, the characters that I played from, from It's Bruno to being Barry in Brooklyn to even the Texas accent that I used on Home Team. This was another one that kind of like I was able to expand the character actor, and I grabbed a little bit of Almost from him, and but this guy is so funny because he's trying to save the hood, but he's left with the everyone's gone. They're either dead or in jail, and I can't do anything. I got 2 goons on my back, and I mean the performance. Like I said, I'm really proud of it. So one more notch in the belt.
Nice. Where can everybody find you online, Anthony?
You can find me on Instagram, actor Anthony L. Fernandez, Facebook, Anthony L. Fernandez, and I am on X, I believe, as actor Anthony.
All right, everybody. I'll put all that down below. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great night.
Right.